gets real, the mic stays warm. Hosted by the dad with lots of charm. Insights are sharp and data's tight. The lens already and the joke's online. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From the high school halls to podcast cues, live a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Grab your coffee and let's get into it. No filter, no fluff, just real talk. Let's do it. Ready or not, here we go. It's time for Muffman to start the show.
All right, welcome to the Hot Takes with the Murphman. I am the Murphman with my co-host Connor. How are we doing today, Connor?
I'm doing better today. How you doing, Murphman?
Good. What do you mean you're doing better? Better than when?
When I went to the hospital.
Well, okay, how long has it been?
Well, I was still having some symptoms, but when I went to my checkup, I'm better.
You're good. It's been 2 weeks. Can you believe it already?
Yeah, that's crazy.
2 weeks ago, you got out of the hospital. I'm glad you're doing better, man. I was worried about you.
Thank you.
A little bit, not too much, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. All right. There's so much going on right now. I don't know where I'm going to go today, but let's talk about this real quick. We're talking about the secret sauce of college success. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. I've said this several times. It's about being strategic and planning. And before we get there, I want to make sure everyone knows I am the Murphman. You are Connor.
Mm-hmm.
We are the co-hosts of the Hot Takes of the Murphman podcast. And our opinions are our opinions alone. Sometimes we'll say something that you'll find controversial. Sometimes you'll find something that you'll disagree with what we say. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to join the show, call us at 915-201-0887. We'd be happy to hear from you. If you want to email us at murphman@purehottakes.com, you can do that as well. You can go to our socials at any Pure Hot Takes social medias, and you can message us there as well. So we hope everyone enjoys our show today. But I just want to, again, our views are our views alone. We are not experts, although we pretend to play them on TV. You know, and sometimes some adult English might slip out. Not intentional, but it does. I do my best in editing and try to fix that, but just giving you guys a heads up right now, if you're listening, you never know what we're going to be talking about, right?
True.
You know, but before we get started, what's going on in the world today?
What is going on in the world?
We're bombing Iran.
Well, I didn't know if you want to talk about politics.
Well, no, we're not talking about politics.
That's technically politics. Well, no, I lie.
That's a current event. Now we talk about the reasons they're bombing Iran. That's politics.
Okay.
But you know, back in 1990, when we started, Iraq invaded Kuwait, and we were doing all that stuff with Saddam Hussein. We had a thing called Desert Shield, right? And back then we had a general of the army called Norman Schwarzkopf. And the Desert Shield was to protect and make a blockade, right? A shield, much like our heat shields. Then I went and bought a sweatshirt that says Desert Shield, right? Because, you know, military, right? All that stuff. As I'm getting home, I turn on the news, we're bombing Iraq. It became Desert Storm. Oh my gosh. Shit.
That's funny.
It really was. It was. But the thing about Schwarzkopf, he went in there and he just laid waste to everyone for like 168 hours, I think. I don't remember. That number just came to my head right now. I don't know if that's even a real number or not. But we just leveled everything, right? I don't know how bad we're going into Iran. We'll see tomorrow. But I'm hoping they do what we did, because we had air superiority. There was hardly anything, although there was still some lots of injuries and lots of deaths, unfortunately. But I hope it doesn't get that bad here. You know, I hope it doesn't start a world war either. You just never know. So
I hope not.
We were talking about nuclear bombs last week. That's the whole reason that they're invading Iran, because they don't want to stop their nuclear bombs. It's not the first time we've done this, and it won't be the last, but it is what it is. What else is going on, Connor? Anything else?
No, not that I know of. I don't know any current events.
Oh, well, I got to tell you all. I've told you about stream915.com where we stream our content here. It's a paid subscription. You got to pay to see us. All right. Right now, you're getting it for free if you're watching it right now. If you're not, check out stream915.com. We're going to go live tomorrow with our episodes. All right. And March 8th, we're going to have a grand opening at the Shops at Solana, the old Sunderland Park Mall. I got to tell you, I cannot wait for that, Connor.
Really?
Yeah. Well, what was it? Excuse me. What was I working on yesterday?
The animation for the like intro. No, would that count as an intro?
Well, yeah. I was working on a new podcast and a new radio station show that we're going to be doing. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing stuff from the studio there at Sunderland Park Mall, or I should say Shops at Solana. So next week, we'll give you guys more details on when everything's going to happen. So if you're interested in coming out to meet the Murph Man, meet Connor, you're welcome to come on out, and we'd be happy to have you. But what do you think, Connor? You think it's time to ignite the fuse?
Yes, sir. I think so. It is.
Let's ignite the fuse.
Stop studying harder. Start studying smarter. Today, we are talking about academic survival secrets, office hours, study hacks, and active learning. The most successful students aren't always the smartest. They're the most strategic. This episode reveals the underrated tools and techniques that can turn average study sessions into academic breakthroughs. The fuse is lit. Murph Man, take the mic.
Stop studying harder. Start studying smarter. What does that mean, Connor? What do you think? Well, today we're going to be talking about academic survival secrets, such as using teachers' office hours, study hacks, active learning. Okay. Mm-hmm. Most successful students aren't always the smartest. They're just most strategic. They're the ones who know how the system works. All right. Let's talk about some of these tools that we're going to be talking about, some techniques we can turn the average study sessions into academic breakthroughs. That's the whole purpose of today. Now, you're going to say, like, well, what do you mean? Oh, we got a lot to talk about today because everyone is different.
Yeah.
Okay. You ever heard of everybody is different? Everybody is different. Everyone is different. When you're studying, we're going to talk about technology, zeros and ones, binary. Get it? Everyone is different.
No.
Oh, boo. Hey, speaking of being sick, what do you call a 7 that's sick?
What?
6, 7. Okay, I haven't done that in forever.
I already knew what you were doing. I'm like, please don't.
Anyway, we're gonna be talking about study hacks, and it's a little more in depth into it because next week we're gonna be talking about how to write a college paper. And that is something a lot of people don't know how to do. So we're definitely be talking about that. And before I get started, I want to give 2 shout outs to Angela Rodriguez and Dweezy720, my 2 top fans. I really appreciate you guys. I want to say thank you for listening. I appreciate all the likes and comments, you guys. I know you don't worry about that kind of stuff, but I want to give them a shout out. I have a few others that do that every now and then. And of course, we got, my friend Javi, which will be on the show with us next week.
For the paper?
No. We're actually going to have a Grammy-nominated producer coming in to talk to us about shows and stuff, and the people he knows. So that's going to be the second half of our show next week. How cool is that?
Oh. Okay.
Right?
Here?
No, it's going to be online. He's in California. But Javi's been talking up our show, and the guy's like, I want to come on his show. Right on, man. So, yeah, we're going to talk about writing college papers and everything, but it'll be a fairly quick session. And the second half of the show will be all Grammy-produced music and stuff. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Because I'm going to be doing my own DJ show. So, it's like I have some stuff I want to work on there, see what he has to say. But anyway, I think it's time we get to the question on everyone's mind today. It's called the burning question.
The best way to ask. Today's burning question is, what is the most effective way to study for a test? A. Rereading your notes multiple times. B. Highlighting important sections in a textbook. C. Quizzing yourself on the material. D. Attending every lecture. What's the flashpoint, Murph Man?
But it is C. Quizzing yourself on the material. You know, we can reread, we can highlight all we want. Those are passive learning techniques. You know, create a false sense of security. Active recall and quizzing yourself is the most effective way to strengthen your brain's ability to memorize and retrieve information. Because it's memory and recall. You have to learn how to store it, and you have to learn how to recall it. All right.
Mhm.
And when you think about this, okay, let me explain to you a little bit more about what this means. When let's go back to your high school day, you had to take the TSIA, Texas College Entrance, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mhm.
And we were sitting there and we were talking about the more complex stuff in math, which I couldn't help you with, really, right? But we sat there and we talked about it, and I quizzed you. I didn't say, Connor, I want you to go and look at these notes and reread them. I just said, we're going to start quizzing you on this. I just started talking to you about it, right? The next day you went and took the test. Do you remember what happened?
I mean, I passed.
Yes, but how was it? How did it go? Do you remember? There's two parts of the test. You got to get the first part. If you get really good on the first part, then the test is over.
diagnostic, yeah. And then
If you don't, then you got to get into the second part where it's more detailed and more work, and
Yes,
then based on your score.
that's just the quiz itself.
Yeah. So, but you did the diagnostic. How fast were you? Like 20 minutes?
Yeah. And it won't maybe less, but
Maybe
it does
less.
take like 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So probably a little, maybe 15. And when you told the counselors you were done, they're like, what? You know, like, you should have taken your time. And you're like, I'm done. I already passed. I'm good. You know, had we sat there and I said, okay, Connor, let's work on the math. Let's do this over and over. Write it down, highlight it, read it. That wasn't effective. It really isn't. Because you don't know what you're highlighting, right? You don't have your highlighted notes in front of you. So when you're sitting there and you're highlighting everything, test time comes, you don't have those notes. Why bother highlighting? Why sit there and just read over and over and over again? Now, I will tell you, when I was going for a master's degree, and I've told you this story before, I was working to be a counselor for adults. And they told me on my comprehensive exam there was going to be 2 kids, which I knew nothing about kids. And in 1 week, I studied everything I could about kids. I didn't learn everything for adults because I knew everything already. And that sounds so conceited, but I mean, I've been doing this already for 15 years, you know, so I already knew psychology. When I sat there and I tried looking at the different theories, there's Piaget, there's Freud, you know, and then there's Erickson. And Erickson is a theory that I have a hard time with. I've always had a hard time remembering the 8 stages.
What are
I
the
think
8
there's 8.
stages?
Oh God, no. See, but industry versus inferiority, and you know, I cannot recall them off the top of my head. Erickson is one of those. I can't. Okay. Before the test, I was studying. I had my flashcards. I had my wife quizzing me. I had my friends quizzing me. I could not get it. To this day, it's like a mental block for me. The test came. I sat there, and I said, okay, Erickson's theory. And I said the first one. And as we went on, boom, 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 I remembered it. And that moment of like, wow, I got it. I understand it now was so cool. You know, I didn't highlight stuff. I quizzed myself constantly all week long. You know, and the comprehensive exam I told you was a 4-hour test. We had to write essays. Those little blue books for essays, I used like 6 of them.
Oh God.
Okay, I was writing a lot of stuff. But I knew the material. It wasn't that hard for me, but the kid stuff. Well, and by the way, on the final exam, they decided to have an adult. So the week that I spent studying was wasted.
Oh, wait, they had a what? Adult?
Well, you had an adult and the kid, because I was studying to be adults. You had
Oh,
people working with kids, because
okay.
it's a school counselor program. So you're going to be a school counselor working with kids, or you could become a licensed professional counselor, LPC, or National Certified Counselor, NCC, and become a therapist with the same degree. You just have to do 12 more hours or 15 more hours, whatever it is.
Yeesh.
And yeah, so like I got 51 graduate hours because I had to get my degree for license and everything. I was lying everyone for my license, but so studying, you have to quiz yourself. That's the only way you're going to learn. Sitting there reading a book, you need to be doing your work during the semester so that when you get to it, it comes naturally. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
All right, so I'll tell you what. Let's get on and let's talk about today's hot take.
Value is the only relevant metric. Today's hot take is this: cramming is self-sabotage, not studying. The fastest way to get an A without spending all night studying is to start your study session by taking the final exam, testing yourself before you review. Murph Man, it's your turn to fan the flames.
If you wait till the last minute to study and you have to cram, it's too late. It's too late. It doesn't work that way. Okay, you need to work on the class all semester long. It's an overnight thing is not going to work. You're in college now. It's a real thing, Start your study session by taking the exam. I know it sounds so stupid. You've heard of a pretest, right? Well, that pretest gives you a gauge of where you are. If you go in and I like to use AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, a Gemini. You can be down in bed, just talking to Gemini, and be like, "Hey, just re-upload your notes, whatever you can, and it'll review your notes for you and come back and give you quizzes. And you can talk about there's apps you can use too, like Quizlet and Anki and all that, right? We'll talk about that later. But you can ask yourself the questions, and that's the best way to study. Now, when you have to do the work, that's hard. You gotta go online and say, okay, give me a question with this for math or chemistry or physics or whatever, and you have to actually work it out. That's different. That's memorization. Okay. Like on TikTok, have you seen that guy who does physics stuff? Like he'll see someone jumping a car on a sand dune, right?
Oh.
And he's like, let's see if this is even possible. Well, we know that is a Toyota Tacoma, whatever vehicle. The measurements are this much. We know he's traveling this distance because he can measure the car and then measure a distance outright and say, okay, he's going this fast. The angle he's going at is this angle. And he starts giving this whole like physics rundown.
Okay.
And tells you if it's real or not. And it was an RC car. Right. But yeah, he does all this stuff and he just talks about it. And it just comes like so naturally to him. And I'm just like, this makes zero sense to me, But when you need to learn formulas, you just need to learn them. It's memorization, but it's also being able to retrieve them whenever you need to. Like doing math. Like right now, I mentioned binary, right?
Well, yeah, the zeros and ones.
I do not remember how it all works. I don't remember binary. I know it's zeros and ones and 8 categories and how they double. I know how to count it. Adding them together, doing the math with them. Okay, I can do real basic stuff.
Yeah.
But to turn on gates and stuff in electronics, I don't remember how to do any of that anymore. Technology has changed so much since I started. It's like, yeah. In my day, we had to ride a bike to get electricity in the house.
Shut up.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna get into a lot more detail here as we go along. That's our hot take for the day is, cramming is just wasting of time. But before we dive deeper, and we need to make sure that we're on the same page, we're going to pause here, go on break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about laying down the coals. Stay tuned.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
According to the VA's suicide data report, an average of 22 veterans die by suicide every single day. This figure is a sobering reality and a crisis that demands our immediate attention and compassion. We must recognize and address the fact that every 24 hours, 22 veterans are losing their lives to suicide. The war doesn't always end when our veterans come home. The invisible wounds they carry, wounds that are real and heavy, require continuous support. No veteran should have to carry this burden alone. Many veterans experience stress and disconnection as they navigate life after service. But there is hope, there is help, and you are not alone in this fight. There's a vibrant community ready to support you, offering friendship, understanding, and shared experiences. You served your country, now let us serve you. Don't fight the toughest battle in silence. Your mission now is to reach out. Dial 988, then press 1. Text them at 838255. The Veterans Crisis Line is available 24/7. Every day, we save lives. Your life is invaluable, and your service is honored. Let's work together to make 22-0 again. No veteran should face their struggles alone. Together, we can ensure every veteran finds the support and hope they deserve.
He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, "This is a man's best friend." Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
Before we get back to the show, I'd like to pause for something that matters. I was inspired by Ryan Spencer's song, Make 22-0 Again. I'd like to remind you that help is always available 24/7, 365. If you ever feel you need support or are in crisis, call 988 and press 1 or text 838255. There will always be someone ready to listen. Remember, you are not alone.
We are back.
We are back. How are we doing? How was the break, Connor?
It was good. I just stretched my legs a little bit.
Yeah, we need to do that every now and then, right?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, let's upgrade our study game, Connor. What does that mean? Well, we're back and we need to talk about our definitions, our terms we're going to be using throughout the show today. In that section called Laying Down the Coals.
Define your value. Define the ask. Before we dig in, let's clarify some of the key terms we'll be using today while laying down the coals. Active recall, the process of actively stimulating your memory during the learning process. Instead of passively reading, you force your brain to retrieve the answer. Spaced repetition, a learning technique where you review material at increasing intervals over time. This fights the forgetting curve and cements long-term memory. Office hours, dedicated time set aside by professors for students to ask questions and get help. It is the most underutilized resource on campus. Now that the coals are laid, Murph Man, let's discuss the foundation.
the terms, all right, the codes, the foundation of what we're going to be talking about today. Active recall, the process of actively stimulating your memory during the learning process. Instead of just passively reading, you forced your brain to learn to retrieve the information it's looking for. Do you remember what osmosis is, Connor?
Nope. Never heard of it.
Absorbing chemicals through the skin.
Oh.
I used to lay down with my book under my pillow, hoping I would just absorb all my knowledge. Didn't work.
Maybe you have to use a book as a pillow. Skin and skin.
Yeah, maybe it had to be skin to skin contact. Yeah, that's funny. My God, that's funny. Next thing is spaced repetition, a learning technique where you review material at increasing intervals over time, and this fights the forgetting curve and segments of long-term memory. And then you have office hours, dedicated time set aside by professors for students to ask questions and get help. It's the most underutilized resource on campus. All right. Why is that so important, Connor? Going to talk to your teachers.
Because you need to get a good connection with them, and if you need help, it's good to talk to them.
It is. I've told you, don't be scared to go to your teachers. Okay. That's the worst thing you can do, is to be scared of going to your teachers.
I've only been scared of going to like one. I don't know. I don't know.
I was a graduate student when I was scared to go to my teacher, so I get it. I'm not going to sit here and bash you for that. But the thing is that active recall, okay, is the steady working toward learning. All right, let's talk about memory and retrieval real quick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Input comes into your brain. We have input from all this stuff going on around us. Like, for example, your eyes see your nose every day, 24 hours a day that you're awake. You're looking at your nose. But do you actually see your nose? No. Your brain has learned to block that part out, so you don't see your nose.
Ooh.
Okay. You've been to concerts, right? After a while, you're talking very loudly, right? Because your sound is deafening. But what about a sound that's repetitious? Like, let's say someone jackhammering outside of the house. Brrr, right?
Yeah.
After a while, you don't hear it anymore.
Oh.
If trust
You
me,
just get used to it.
no. Well, that's my point. You hear it, but you don't register it anymore. It's in here,
Yeah.
but your brain's like, we don't need to remember that information, right?
Yeah.
When they were doing the construction here on the road behind us, do you remember when we had the earthquakes? The whole house would shake with whatever they were drilling over there.
Yeah.
That was like, interesting, right?
That's a little different.
Yeah, because all of a sudden the ground would shake. all our beer, liquor bottles and everything would just rattle, and it was weird. It was different.
It scared me. Yeah.
Yeah, And let's not forget the actual explosion we had a block away from our house, right?
No,
that was just a
not
loud
even a
noise out of
block.
nowhere.
That's like literally 2 doors down. Literally like two or three houses.
The house behind us had a building behind it that had an explosion. Yeah.
But I meant like even then, like house to house to house. It's like almost there. So
yeah. So that was a loud sound that just came out of nowhere. You're gonna register that, okay? But your brain does all this stuff for you day in, day out. You don't even realize what it's doing. And part of it is everything you see and do is put into your memory. It's stored.
Yeah.
Then there's short-term and long-term memory. Short-term is a few seconds to a minute, and long-term memory is longer than 5 to 10 minutes and forever longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything goes into your brain. At some point, your brain says, we don't need to know this, and it drops it. It decays it, just destroys it, doesn't, keep it. But the short-term memory, like, for example, if I tell you, repeat 3 numbers to me, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, okay. 5 minutes later, come back and go, what was those 3 numbers I told you to remember? What? Right?
Yeah.
This has happened to everybody. When you do multi-factor authentication, the 2FA, it tells you what's the code, and you go to the code, and you're used to either a 4-digit number, right, or a 6-digit number, and then they end up giving you like an 8-digit number with letters. You're like, oh crap! Hold on, way 2, 7, right? You got to go back and forth between the app to write it. Our brain doesn't learn how to do that. But when we're remembering stuff, it's storing it and learning how to retrieve it. For example, if I give you a phone number, okay, let's give out our number again if someone wants to call. 915-201-0887, right? That's how you give a phone number. Now, I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you the same number, all right? 91
915
52. Hold on. No, let me give the number. 91 52 270 887. What? Right? Because it's not given to you the way your brain is used to receiving it. Same numbers, but not the same way. Another example is your stupid alphabet. When I say stupid alphabet, I'm going to sing the alphabet song real quick, okay?
Okay.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, right? Do yours.
No, that's mine.
No, it's not. You were doing something weird yesterday or the other day.
Oh. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Same letters.
Yeah.
Same letters. But all of a sudden your rhythm is different than mine and my brain's like, wait, what?
Because I remember on TikTok, kindergartners are learning it like that. So.
Oh, there's a few ways of learning stuff now,
Well, but like a while ago. So it's like, I don't know. You say alphabet and that just pops up in my head. So all I think about is just, I don't say it fast.
Right. But it's a different rhythm. Is it wrong? No, it's just different. Core math, learning how to do those things, learn how to use an abacus or whatever the case may be. There's so many different ways to learn stuff. But you have to figure out which way your brain works. That's the most important thing here. I'm pretty good at memory. I can recall pretty good stuff, pretty good details. When I'm counseling somebody, I'm working with them over years. I might come back and see them, 5 years later. I have a pretty good memory of what I was talking to them about, When I'm a counselor and you're talking to someone, the worst thing you can do is I'll say something like, hey, so what do you do for a living again? Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh. And like, how does that work? I'm like, we talked about this last session. You don't remember? It's really annoying as a patient to have your counselor not really understand you, right? Now, as a counselor, you don't expect your patient to remember things you say. Do you remember I do this with you all the time, not as a patient or counselor, but I'll say, hey, do you remember when we talked about this? You're like, no. You don't even try to recall it. You don't try to retrieve it.
If it's not familiar and I don't have a picture in my head of what you said, then no.
Well, a couple episodes ago, we were talking about racial thoughts and racial comments and everything. Do you remember that?
No.
Now, watch this. I'm going to say one word. It's going to trigger the whole memory. Blue.
Blue.
Go to.
Wait. Blue. Blue.
See, if you can remember a certain thing. Actually, Javi was mentioning that last night. He thought that was funny. You see that? Just that right retrieval cue brings everything flooding back.
I was like, blue. I'm like, first thing I thought of, blue whale, ocean.
Blue waffle. Don't ever look at blue waffle.
I'm gonna look it up right now on your computer.
You can, but you don't want to. Trust me.
I've seen it.
All right. But yeah, having the right retrieval cue is so important. Like I was saying about Erickson earlier, that very first stage, the very first page is inferiority versus industry. Are you gonna do things on your own or not? It's like, okay, that's what I remember. I don't even know if that's right or not. I'll be honest. Do me a favor, look up Erickson with a K, Erikson. And what's the first stage? Because we're talking about it. Let's talk about it.
Spell it?
Erikson.
The stages, or what are we talking about?
Give me the first stage.
All right, images. Okay. Holy. Oh, okay. Trust versus mistrust.
All right. When you're a baby, you are at the mercy of whoever's taking care of you. And by them taking care of you and meeting your needs, you learn to trust or mistrust people. All right, trust. That's the first stage. What's the next one?
Autonomy versus shame and doubt.
Autonomy versus shame and doubt. All right. You start learning to walk, you start learning to potty train, right? Guess what happens? You either learn to do it on your own or you get shamed and it's not a pleasant experience. You should not remember your potty training. It shouldn't be a traumatic experience. You should just learn how to do it and you're done. But that's where you get the autonomy versus shame and doubt. Right. Next stage.
Initiative versus guilt.
Initiative versus guilt. If you're a little kid, you want to go explore the world, right? It's really interesting. If you ever watch people, I know you and I, we watch people all the time, but if you're at the mall and you watch a little kid running around, you'll see them running and then they run back to their parent. Then they run around some more and they come back to their parent. That's like their home base, but they're exploring their world, right? But if you're that parent that goes, don't do that, you can't go, you gotta stay right here with me. You're not gonna, what was it again? The stages?
Initiative versus guilt.
You're gonna feel guilty trying to explore your world. You're not gonna have that initiative to do things on your own. Okay? What's the next stage?
Industry versus inferiority.
This is where that
Sorry.
gets bigger and you start learning to do things on your own. Here. You start doing things on your own and you learn to be independent. You learn to be industrious, or you feel that you can't do anything. Okay, next stage.
Identity versus confusion.
Well, who are you? Like, does it show the age bracket there for that?
Oh, I don't know. 12 to 18.
As a teenager, what's the title again?
Identity versus confusion.
Role confusion. Who are you as a teenager? That is such a big question. You don't know exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you really have to work hard on that. You really have to work hard on it because who are you? You got to learn who you are. And then what's the next stage?
Intimacy versus isolation.
Dating or being isolated. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-explanatory. Generatively versus stagnation.
Either you grow or you die. And I don't mean like die, but you grow emotionally, knowledge, mature levels, all of that, right? And then the last stage?
Integrity versus despair.
Yeah, either you're happy about what you've done or you're not. Okay, the real simple breakdown of everything, but that's Erickson's theory. Okay, trust versus mistrust being the very first stage. Okay, that's the one you got to remember. I remember industry versus inferiority because I worked with middle schoolers and high schoolers. That's where I started looking at Erickson's stage. That's why for me, that's the first stage. I don't really worry about all the other ones. Hopefully by then you've already mastered them, you know.
Yeah.
But that cue is so important because if you have to learn what you're going to teach yourself. Like, for example, what class are you in right now? Discrete structures.
Yeah.
Can you give me any concept you can think of that comes to mind right now?
The quin tree.
Quin tree? I've never even heard of that. But going back to Latin roots, we talked about vocabulary. Quin is 5, tree is branches. So there's 5 branches?
No.
Yeah, see, you know.
No.
But you say quin, that comes to mind. Also the quinjet from the marbles. Two completely unrelated things. But the word quin triggers that memory in me. See that? What else? Give me another class that you're taking that you can think of just one word that, and it brings up the whole class for you, or a subject or topic or something.
Ooh. Rhetoric and composition, you.
Rhetoric and composition, you. What
You.
do you mean you?
YOU.
What is that?
It's we study on us technically.
Okay.
and writing essays about literally us. The whole thing is about you.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's notes and lectures from like other stuff and books maybe, and then we do an essay and putting that into our lives and making it about us.
because you should be an expert on yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, last week we were talking about students finding me boring sometimes because I just tell too many stories.
Yeah.
But I think that's one way to learn. You know, I cover the book stuff, but I cover story stuff. I actually had someone go, "This man spoke for 30 seconds and didn't see a damn thing."
Hmm.
I was like, wow, you're entitled to your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? But as a teacher, if you're listening to me, maybe that's not the best way to go all the time. You know, you got to mix it up a little bit. And, you know, as a teacher who's been certified and everything, they teach you how to do that stuff. There's Bloom's taxonomy. There's so many different things you can do to teach people that it's not just your experience. But remember, I was a counselor, became a teacher without any training. And I've been doing it for 25 years now. You know, obviously my techniques have gotten a lot better when I'm teaching,
A lot better.
you know, but it's still one of those things. But I'll tell you what, speaking of stories and telling people ourselves, let's hear about a story from the fire in our segment, Story of the Fire.
The false fluency trap. In today's story from the fire, meet Tasha. She used to reread her notes and highlight her textbook, thinking she knew the material. After bombing a midterm, she switched strategies. She started using flashcards and practice quizzes, forcing herself to answer without looking. Her test scores jumped, and so did her confidence. She learned that a smart strategy is more powerful than a passive one. That was a story from the fire. Murphman, are you feeling the heat?
She used to reread her notes and highlight her textbook. Okay, we talked about this already. That's not the best way to do it. That's the only way she knew how to study.
Yeah.
After bombing the midterm, she switched strategies. She started using flashcards and practice quizzes and forcing herself to answer without looking, right? Because she had to learn how to retrieve the information. Her test scores jumped and so did her confidence. And she learned that smart strategy is more powerful than any kind of passive one. You have to be active in your learning. It just doesn't come from there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what the thing about all of this is. You have to be actively involved in your learning. You know, like I said, the osmosis, you can't lay your head on the book and expect to get the knowledge, you know. You could record yourself, like, you know, you have a screen recorder on your phone, right?
Yeah. I do.
You can actually record your voice. Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. Voice messages. I don't know.
Well, you want to leave yourself notes, and you can be talking about it. You can be like, okay, Erickson's theory, first stage, trust versus mistrust, right? And then later on, you can actually have it all recorded and start playing your playlist at night when you go to bed.
Oh.
And you would hear it overnight. What do you think of that?
I guess, but I'm gonna be asleep, so I won't understand it.
Your brain might register it. That's the thing. Your brain's always listening when you're asleep.
I don't know about that, but
okay. Again, we go back to I'm the college professor.
okay, you're
Okay.
right.
You just don't realize what you're hearing. Okay. When you just got to find what works for you. That's the most important thing, is finding what works for you. As you're out there and you're doing things, okay, retrieving is how you retrieve. Like I said, sometimes it's just one word. Sometimes it's just an acronym, you know, or what is it called? Well, it's an acronym, but I'm trying to think what the educational phrase is.
Well, what's the acronym?
Like, if we're going to do SMART goals, you got to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timetable. You know, that's a SMART, SMART, right? But it's an acronym, but there's another word for it. Can you think of what it is?
A word.
Yeah. Okay. It's I'm drawing a completely blank. Anyway,
Let me look it up and be like, what does the acronym mean?
yeah, what's the term for using an acronym when learning? Look that up and let me know what you think it or what it is or what it might be, or let's see if it's the word I'm even thinking of. I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna be like, that's what it is.
Abbreviations?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. This is gonna kill me if I don't get this. Look up type in S period, M period, A period, R period, T period, goals is also known as a, and that's what it tells you.
I hate this. I hate this keyboard.
I do too.
No.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
Mnemonic.
Mnemonic. That's nowhere.
Yeah,
on here.
do mnemonic. PNEUMONIC. Mnemonic device. God, I knew I would remember. See, it's retrieve. I had to retrieve it. That's proof. That's proof.
We're not mute. How do you say it? Mnemonic.
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 What is it? Give the definition.
Mnemonic memory technique.
Mnemonic.
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 Mnemonic. Mnemonic.
New.
There's an M though.
I know.
Okay.
Mnemonic.
Mnemonic. Okay. They are memory techniques such as acronyms, rhymes, or visualization that helps the brain encode and recall information more easily by connecting new data to established knowledge.
I know you don't speak Spanish, but there's a song that we used to sing when we were kids. Dos y dos son cuatro y cuatro y dos son. It's 2 and 2 is 4 and 4 and 2 is 6. Right? It was a way to learn how to add numbers and get to 16. So that mnemonic devices, that's the phrase I could not remember. I even had a little note, and I dropped a post-it note to remind me what it was. Mnemonic devices, whatever it takes for you to learn the material is what matters. Like, I never learned mnemonic devices. Do you remember my story about the kamikaze in history? When I had to learn how to, we were doing World War II and the kamikaze. God, I cannot remember what a kamikaze name was, but I could remember the shots I took in Juarez.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what recalled my memory was the shots, not the memory of what a kamikaze was. Because I remember hearing it in class, someone saying a kamikaze is a Japanese pilot that, when he's out of weapons would kill himself by running into ships or whatnot. I'm like, oh, is that what the shots are? Yeah, it makes sense. You're really shooting yourself in the foot when you're doing kamikaze shots, right? In my day, we used to do like 10 at a time and whatnot. But when you figure out what it takes for you to learn, don't stick to that. Always learn new stuff as well, Connor, because your brain is constantly growing and constantly learning. And what works today might not work tomorrow. If you can come up with an acronym or a mnemonic device, or even just a phrase to remind you of what Erickson's theory is or whatever, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that as you practice it, you'll get better at retrieving stuff. There's, like, for example, there's people that can tell you a day of the week. You give them a date, like April 2nd, 1922, and they're like, oh, that was a Tuesday. There's a formula to use for that. Like if it's this day, this year, odd number, this, I forget how it's done, but they retrieve information very quickly. There's also games people play to do math and learning, just there's so many different ideas out there on how to store and retrieve your information.
Yeah.
But what do you think works best for you?
I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, but I guess AI helps me.
What?
Just okay. Like if I missed a lecture, I would just put the recording onto Turbo and then it shows me and I'm like, okay.
Right.
Yeah. I try not doing too much because if I see the word and I just like look at it, I'm like, okay, I know it.
Well, one thing I think that one way I think you study better is in groups.
No. Well, it's supposed to, but not for me.
So let's see if you can think about why that is.
I don't know.
Because when you're taking the test, you're not in groups.
Oh.
Hold on.
So you what?
No, I just gotta show TikTok I'm still here live.
I thought you were.
Well, no, but I have to do a captcha to prove that I'm still here.
Well, what were you saying?
Well, you're studying a group, but you're not in a group during the test, so the environment
is different.
Yes. Now, I know you don't remember the movie called Beer Fest, right? But the whole point is a German beer fest, and they're trying to get to it. And the guy who went the year before, he was really drunk when he went. And they were saying, well, you need to be in the same state of mind you were in when you learned it. So they had to get him drunk again to remember how to get to the beer fest. And what's funny is they've been practicing for this beer fest, so they were drinking a lot, right?
Oh, I do remember it.
And so when they had to get him drunk, he's like, bro, I've been practicing for a beer drinking contest. I need a lot more than this. And they give him like 5 or 6 pitchers of beer.
God.
But he was able to get drunk and he remembered how to get there. You know, the environment you're in that you're learning is also part of the cue. If you're in your bedroom, your brain isn't thinking this is my study area. So dedicating a time and a space for studying is important. Okay. Sitting there and working on stuff. You know, you don't have to work on your desk. You can work on the kitchen table. You can work on a TV tray. It doesn't have to be a specific desk.
Just somewhere you could just place your stuff at.
But that you do consistently. So when you go there, you're training yourself to learn. Just like when you go to bed, your bed's for sleeping, not for watching TV or playing Xbox or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But as you study, you learn, before you know it, you'll be doing different things there. You know, and I'll tell you what. Let's get to those actionable steps called the heat map, and we'll talk more about this.
Okay.
Start small, win big. The heat map will show you where to focus your efforts for the most impact. Visit office hours early in the semester to build a relationship before you actually need help. Use active recall by closing your book and trying to explain a concept out loud. If you can't explain it simply, you don't know it. Space out your review sessions instead of cramming. Review a topic a day after you learn it, then a week later, then a month later. Use practice exams as your primary study guide. Focus 90% of your time on the questions you got wrong. The map is drawn. Back to Murphman for the next segment.
Be able to use the office hours, go visit your teachers. The spaced repetition, review material at increasing intervals every day, week, and a month later. So if you study something today, right? Study again on Wednesday and study again on Friday. Then the next week you get new material and you study it that way. Whenever you have your test, you already have 3 intervals that you've practiced. Active recall, explain concepts out loud without notes, because you have to actually use your brain to talk. Like right now, I was trying to remember the mnemonic device. I didn't have my note. I didn't have my post-it note.
Yeah.
So I was like, God, I know there's something here that I want to talk about. I don't know. Eventually my brain came up with it, right? I retrieved it, but I had to go through a little process. And one of the reasons I remember that is because it's a weird spelled word. That's what I remember, mnemonic. And then of course you got the practice exams. Spend 90% of the time on the things you got wrong. Because again, we go back to, you already know what you know. Does that make sense? Think about that for a second. You already know what you know. Why go back and review it? You're just wasting time studying on something that you don't need to know because you already know it.
Yeah.
Going back and thinking of memories and things that you do to hang out with people and whatnot, right? It's very interesting because you may not be able to recall people in your life. You may not remember their name or where they live, work, play, how you know them, but you know them from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they can say, well, we have a mutual friend or whatever. Last night at the bar that we were at, there's the song from White Chicks, whatever.
Crazy in Love, yeah.
What is it?
Crazy in Love.
Crazy in Love,
by
yeah.
Beyonce.
And this guy comes up to me, don't know this guy, right? He starts singing it to me. If I could, I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
that one? That's 1,000 Miles.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
okay.
I thought you were thinking of the dance battle.
Oh, no.
With Terry Crews?
No. The I miss you. That's what he goes.
That's
and sometimes I want, and he puts his head on my shoulder. I'm like, okay, he's drunk, right?
I would sing with him.
Well,
if I could fly.
Well, okay. Anyway, that's not the point of the story. So this guy is just like singing to me, right? I don't know who he is from anything. But I'm listening to the song and I'm remembering when I saw White Chicks in the movie and and then Javi comes over and I'm like, hey, let me introduce you to Jaime, and Javi's like, what's going on? And this guy, I still don't know, starts keeps singing this song to me, right? I love this song. He starts, and then all of a sudden this girl walks up. She puts her arm around me and she's like, hey, I got you a beer. And I'm one of those, I'm a hugger. So I went and kissed her on the cheek and she said, thank
Why
you.
would you kiss her on the cheek?
Because I just did.
Okay.
And then she walked away with Jaime. And Javi's just like, he's in love with you. She buys you a beer. What do I need to know here?
That's funny.
It is, right? Now, how do I remember Jaime's name?
I don't know.
Because I introduced him to Javi. Javi,
Oh.
Jaime, Javi. That guy could walk up to me right now. I wouldn't remember what he looks like. That girl could walk up to me right now. I wouldn't remember what she looks like. But if she were to say, hey, I got you a beer at this bar. Oh, yeah, I remember you.
Well, yeah, 'cause no one gives you a beer.
Right. And she actually got me a beer that I drink. It was a little weird.
Like, are you sure he wasn't a student or something?
No, I haven't taught in a classroom in years.
Yeah, that's why.
No, it's okay. An old patient is not going to walk up and buy me a beer. Although that has happened. It's really awkward. Like when I was doing the Geeks Drink and I bumped into that student. Hey, you're Mr. Murphy. I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, you're my psychology professor. Oh, you remember me? He goes, yeah. Like that class was so much fun. I said, do you still remember anything? I always ask, is there anything you remember from my class? Because sometimes there's one or two stories kids remember. I say kids, they're not adults, right?
Yeah, but you're kids.
Yeah. And he goes, well, yeah, I became a sports psychologist because of you. Wow. That's pretty cool. There's another thing. There's a story called Who Moved My Cheese. I love talking about Who Moved My Cheese. See, you always,
Every time. It always leads back to the cheese. Oh my God.
Okay. I love the story. I love it. And my favorite story from that is there was a guy who was a sprint car racer. And he had a chance to move up the league and become a higher, you got stock cars, dirt track, you remember all the different car levels are, right?
No,
well,
but
not specifically.
I know, yeah.
And then you have NASCAR, and you have Truck Series, and then you have the Busch Series, and then, actual NASCAR. There's all these different levels. He comes up to me and he says, I read your book. Well, it's not my book, but
yeah.
And he goes, I have a decision to make. He says, I have to rent the track and pay $10,000 to have someone come watch me race. If I do well, I'll move up rankings into different leagues and stuff. And I said, okay. I said, are you good? And he's like, yeah. And I said, then do it. name is Jonathan Barcena, number 23. And he's moving up the racing world.
Wow.
How do I remember his name?
Never heard of him.
Because, hold on, one of my friends who was also a race car driver had his same number, and she was always pissed off that he had her number first. So she would mention him all the time, you know, when we used to go to the racetrack in Vado, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, to say the least, you know, the way we recall and remove information. But I'll tell you what, Connor, I think we need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we can talk about where we'll get burned and how to protect ourselves from that and go from there. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Ready for commercial?
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
Staring out this hotel window, many floors above. What's missing down there is love. Thinking through the smoke that fills my mind. Don't worry, it's not my first time. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town. They say it's all inside, heaven and hell. What happened to that angel when he fell? Give it just one try. Tell me you don't like it. Be God for a moment and don't despise it. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town. Step outside and breathe. Play a little in the street. Hope it's not me they're sending. Move on from over there. Get the kids a little scared. Oh, these fences, they need mending. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town. Adios, amigo. So glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town.
Before we get back to the show, Hot Takes with the Murph Man streams live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern with Military Broadcast Radio. At mbradio.us, we give veterans a voice and help them launch their own podcasts. Make sure to visit pureHotTakes.com for all my socials and links to our premium content.
Okay, it just cuts out.
It does. I got to fix that.
I was like, okay.
All right. So on the break, real quick, we were talking about retrieving information and everything. Last night, Connor had to go to the ATM, and he was in a rush because he was going out. And I'm like, go to the 7-Eleven, it's closer than the bank is, and you can get money.
And continue.
Well, there's no fee at that 7-Eleven, right? Or Alon or DQ or Ox or whatever the hell it's called. So Connor goes, and the gas station is shut down temporarily. They're remodeling or doing something.
Yeah.
Instead of just going a couple blocks more and going to the bank, he went 3 miles away to a 7-Eleven or DK or whatever again, right?
Yeah.
And then I call you. I'm like, hey, Connor, what's taking you so long? You're like, I had to go all the way to this street to go to the bank because this one was closed. And why did you go to the bank? And you're like, I didn't even think about it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. That's exactly what we've been talking about with storage and retrieval. The cues will remind you. What was the cue that you were thinking of?
I'm trying to get smaller bills.
Right. Okay.
So that's the only reason I went.
Right. But what's the cue that made you go to Trowbridge versus the bank?
It's the same store.
Bingo. The DK. Right. So
I'm like, that's the only one I know. So I'm like, I'll just go there. So, I mean, yeah.
That's exactly right. Excuse me, your brain said, I got to go to another convenience store. Your brain was not thinking, I need to go to the bank.
I'm trying to get smaller bills. So that's why I tried going to the store.
You know, when you walk in, you buy a drink for 89 cents and then, whatever.
I got a drink and snacks. So
last night, I was up till 4 a.m. Well, I'm sitting there talking to Javi, and he's like, man, I really want some chips right now. I said, hold on. I go and I pull out our box of chips. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, we went to the store and we bought some chips.
Oh, the variety pack?
Yeah, the variety pack. He's like, oh, that's cool.
My friends saw that. They're like, because they know how much I eat. They're like, damn, you got all this for yourself? I'm like, no.
Well, it was all for yourself until I broke into last night, right? But anyway, yeah, he wanted hot fries. So we went up to Circle K. So I drive all the way back to the store for him. 4 a.m, 3 a.m, 3:30, I'm driving home. Witnessed another accident. We talk about accidents on the freeway, right? Called 911, did a U-turn, came back. The truck was still there. I did another U-turn to go back. And this time there's a guy on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. And I was like, did the truck run into him? Because his motorcycle's over here on the side of the street. It was just 4 a.m. drama. But again, that happened to me.
Did it feel like 4 a.m?
Did it feel like 4 a.m? I wasn't tired. If that's what you're asking,
right?
I wasn't drinking, I was, but I'm not hungover or anything like that.
You would like take a nap and then wake up and be like, you're energized, right? That's what happens to me every time. Yeah. And then I'm tired when I leave my friend's house, but then when I start driving home, I'm like,
well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Shouldn't drive when you're tired.
I'm always energized. I just get tired when I get home. They know my bed's there.
Well, and again, we go back to your bed is the cue to fall asleep, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, anyway, the whole point of that retrieval cue that we're talking about was in your brain, you were thinking DK 7-Eleven, Al-Anon, whatever, Al-Anon, Alcoholics Anonymous. But you weren't thinking bank. Okay. You weren't thinking bank.
No, I was thinking money.
Right.
And I'm like,
convenience store, buy a soda. You weren't thinking go to the bank, which gives you change.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. The other one's on the far side. I told you that. And the point being is,
I missed both entrances. I forgot I had to turn a little bit before the street. I turned to the street to go to Viscount. I'm like, wait, no. I go back around. I'm like, there's no entrance on Viscount. Dang it. I go back there. There's no entrance. I'm like, okay. I go back and I almost missed it.
For future reference, I'm going to tell you something. Any bank, anywhere you go get a withdrawal,
It's the first entrance.
there's a fee. We'll get
Oh.
that refunded. So you can go. You don't have to go all the way to another 7-Eleven. It is that one was free, and you don't have to worry about it. Do you remember the time I had $140 on my card, and I told Connor I need to go take out $140, and he goes and he does a balance check, so it takes out $1.25. So when he goes and withdraws the 140, there's no more 140 in there, and then it bounces another like $5 fee because
We're trying to do that too much.
we're trying to do that. Yeah. I was like, so last night I told him, don't forget this, and you didn't, right? But yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the final segment here. We're going to be talking about the heat map, those actionable steps we just talked about. But we're going to dive into where you'll get burned, so you know exactly which common pitfalls and mistakes to avoid before we get to the actual afterburn and reflect on this. Here's where you will get burned.
The passive trap. Let's talk about where you'll get burned. These are some common pitfalls. Relying on false fluency. Just because you recognize the information when you read it doesn't mean you can recall it on a test. Waiting until you're failing to ask for help. Office hours are for prevention, not just emergency surgery. Highlighting everything. If everything is important, nothing is important. Highlighting is passive. Flashcards are active. Danger zone identified. Back to Murphman for the warning.
Okay.
All right. So relying on false fluency. Just because you recognize information does not mean that you know what it means and you'll be able to recall it on the test. Waiting until you're failing to ask for help is the worst thing you can do. Always use those office hours. Highlighting everything. If everything is important, nothing is important. Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Back to School? We were just watching it the other day.
Yeah.
And the kids, like, you know, they're rich and they're going to buy books, right? And the father's like, just get the new books. He goes, don't you understand? These already have the notes highlighted. They're used. And the father goes, you don't know if the guy who did that is smart or not. You know, I've learned not to highlight. When you're doing an English class, it tells you, like, underline the subject, underline the noun. What is the whatever, you know what I mean? And they tell you to underline. Before you know it, the whole paragraph is underlined and circled. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. I mean, I might just be dumb, but yeah. Done that multiple times. I'm like, wait.
You know.
I mean, that one, I gotta highlight the whole page, like the Bible.
Well, right. So, you know, you're not really going to learn anything if you start highlighting everything. Okay. And then remember, it's passive. You want to be active in your learning. You want to use flashcards. You want to be able to ask the questions, talk about things. You know, one of the things you and I do, we go for a drive every now and then, and we talk. And we bounce ideas off each other, and we share ideas, and we discuss stuff.
Yeah.
But we quiz ourselves a little bit too. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So driving in the car is where the memories come for me. That makes any sense?
Yeah.
You know. Javi asked me last night, he goes, have you guys taken any trip recently? Right, because spring break is coming up. And I was like, when was the last trip we took? And I was like, I remember, but do you remember, what do you think is the last trip we took?
Amarillo.
Amarillo, right? And we ate the 72-ounce steak challenge there.
That was the last thing. It was
It's
a
only
year
been
ago.
2 years. Yeah, a year ago. Because I bought the new engine in February, huh? Yeah. A year ago. I thought it was 2.
Yep.
Anyway.
Nah.
Yeah, last Christmas we went to Amarillo. No, he's like, why Amarillo? I'm like, because we went to go eat the steak. And he's like, oh, that's right, you know. And I'm like, I want to do that again. He goes, is it really that big? I'm like, yeah, it really is that big.
Let him go with you.
Well, I will. You know, we were talking about doing that during spring break. And I'm like, I don't know. Should we do that? Would you go and just sit down at a table and just have a steak?
Yeah.
But not do the challenge?
No. I'd watch it and be like, hey, guys. But I'm going to be like, can I just get like a 12-ounce steak?
12 ounce? Try again.
I don't know. I don't know what I eat.
A 12-ounce steak is slightly larger than your palm of your hand.
That's a good size.
No, it's not.
I have to take my portions slower and have smaller portions.
Okay, yeah, because what the doctor told you, I understand that, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You can eat.
Oh yeah, I can.
3
pounds. Doing
3 pounds.
3 and like 3/4.
Which would be
54.
3 of the 12-ounce steaks. No, wait up.
No more.
4. I was thinking 36, but it's 48.
I don't know. I'm just.
I
can eat a lot. That's my issue.
I know. But again, we go back to, taking a trip and doing things and the memory, right?
Yeah.
After that challenge, when was the last time we ate steak? Honestly,
never. Well,
I don't. In the last year, I think maybe I've ate steak once.
Golden Corral.
Well, okay,
And then
yeah,
I
I
went
guess that's the only
out.
time I eat steak. But I mean, I don't go and order steak. At Golden Corral, I'll get steak because it's there.
Yeah, last time we actually got steak was that. Literally that, or Golden Corral.
No. Well, I know. Was it David Buster's we ordered a steak one time?
That was before.
That was before.
When you were still doing the games.
Yeah.
The bingo.
But yeah, it just, that memory sometimes is stuck with us. That steak. We'll never forget how big that steak was. Right?
Yeah.
But the trip was cool. What's the other thing you remember from the trip?
The arcade. We didn't do much, but
okay.
We went to go see it. What do we even do there?
No, well, that's where we bowled. Remember the hyper bowling and that we did the escape room and
that's right.
But that's not the memory I was thinking of.
Oh.
Come on, what's the other thing of the big Texan you remember?
Papa John's.
No.
I don't know. Red Lobster? Red Robin? I mean.
No. Alex the Russian.
Oh. Okay.
You don't remember him?
No, I do.
Now that I say the Russian, you're like, oh, I remember Alex, right?
Yeah.
We should call him up one day on the show and be like, hey, Alex, what you doing?
He's not going to answer.
Yeah, he will.
He won't.
The question is, will he remember who we are?
Probably not.
Probably not.
We have to get him drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was Russian. He could really drink. That yeah. That's crazy. Now, let me say one more thing here real quick about those pitfalls, you guys. We get into a habit, and that's where we fall into pitfalls. Don't do the same thing over and over. Always try something new. Okay? I've been teaching for 25 years, and I told you my technique has changed over the years. Yeah. Counseling has changed over the years. It's just, you have to evolve in whatever you're doing.
And just see what works best.
Yeah. Okay. And you might find something that works, and then realize later on that it doesn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Okay. So be fluid and change. But I'll tell you what. Let's talk about those heat shields that are going to prep us for protection. Mm-hmm. All right. Here are our heat shields.
The prep is the protection. Here are your heat shields. When preparing for academic tests, your heat shield is spaced and active review. The intense heat of finals week is directly proportional to the lack of pre-work you put in. Deploy this shield by pre-scheduling at least 3 review sessions per course, per week. The benefit? When high-stakes pressure hits, your knowledge is already deep and readily available, protecting you from performance, anxiety, and last-minute burnout. The shields are up. Murph Man, what's next?
Is directly proportional to the lack of pre-work you put in.
Whoa, what?
The lack, the intense heat from finals week is directly proportional to the lack of work you put in all semester long. If you put the effort in all semester, the finals week is not that big of a deal.
Okay, yeah.
But if you're doing the bare minimum every time you do something,
Then
finals going to come around and you're not going to do really well. So it really has to do with how much you do during the semester to get that final grade on the exam. Okay.
okay.
Pre-schedule at least 3 review sessions per course per week. Okay. I teach online at a high school, and the kids have like 6 to 8 classes because it's virtual, so they can take as many as they want. If they want to take 3, they can take 3. But I tell kids, pick a morning or an afternoon when they have their live class with the teacher and focus that afternoon on that subject. And then the next morning, a different subject, afternoon, different subject. And they work focused on each one at least half a day every week. If for some reason they get caught up and they're done, they move on to the next class where they have the lowest grade and need more work done, or they're further behind. And then they focus on it that way. Being that I'm covering Spanish right now, I have kids that are coming in doing Spanish exams, the voice activities and everything. And they're like, I'm embarrassed to speak Spanish. I'm like, I really don't want to hear you speak Spanish, but I got to hear you. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, as a teacher, you got to hear everyone talking. How do you think that makes us feel? There's some people that can speak Spanish and there's some people that can't. And some people are like, what? Are you speaking French? Because I don't understand your Spanish. It's so bad, you know? And I make the kids laugh, and they're like, oh, I shouldn't feel so bad. I'm like, no, you're not that bad, you know? And with me helping them, they learn, you know?
And that's good. You're a good teacher.
Well, thank you. And it's funny because like I have kids that'll come in and take their retest with me and they have to study. They usually get like a 95 or 100. Okay.
Wow.
Because I teach them how to use a study guide and how to use the notes and how to, it's all in how you teach it. But I had to learn how to do it. And I cannot do it without the notes. Why? I don't have to learn it. I just have to grade it. I have to teach it. I just have to grade it. If I had to teach it, guess what? I would be focusing a lot more. And I showed you the work I was doing for my class next week, right?
Yeah.
The slides are really nice, I think. And even my coworkers like, wow, you can tell you put a lot of work into it. I'm like, yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, the slides give you all the information that is in the notes. It's just presented differently, just like my PowerPoints here.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Let me do that real quick. Let me show you guys how. For those of you who are listening for the first time, this is something I'm trying. That's new. All right. This is how they used to look. But I'm trying this. Which one do you think looks better, Connor? Which one would you like to see more? This one or this one? 1.
I like that one.
2.
1.
1. 3.
Okay. I was like, you sound like a
optometrist.
Yeah. I was like 1, 2. I'm like 1. And then it clicked in my head. I'm like, okay. And then you did it. I'm like, oh, wow.
But yeah, so, presenting information differently to different students is very important because everyone learns differently. I learn through stories. People learn with hands-on work. There's, and that's Gardner's theories of learning. There's different ways of learning, music-wise, things of that nature. So, we've been talking here for like an hour, almost an hour and a half. And I want to get to the reflection questions where we talk about what we need to think about to move on and see what we learned today. So let's talk about the afterburn.
Reflect on your value. In today's Afterburn, here are some questions for you to reflect on. What study strategies have worked best for me so far? How can I make my study time more efficient and effective? What's stopping me from going to office hours, and how can I push past it? Reflection complete. Murph Man, time for your reflective thoughts.
what study strategies have worked best for me so far? We've talked about this with you, Connor. What do you think has worked best for you?
I don't know. Maybe what I'm gonna say. Just getting away from France and going to a study room.
Okay.
And looking over the slides, like what I don't know. I mean, I know like, yeah, but then I stop and I'm like, I write it down and then yeah, and then write it down, and then those are my flashcards.
Right. And as you're getting better at using your flashcards, because like in high school you didn't really use any of that kind of stuff.
That I just like
it came natural to you.
No, I did the I just looked, I'm like, okay, and then but then like before I would go through it, I'm like, okay, that word means that, that's that connected to that, and then I get somewhat a good grade.
When you were doing anatomy and physiology, you had to learn a lot of body parts, and that was not easy. You know, but
if you tell me right now, I'm not gonna remember.
But in high school, you didn't really care about what you were learning. Now you care a little more, maybe a lot more.
Because this is my job, technically.
Well, maybe. We're talking about changing jobs. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
But
for now.
Yeah, for now it's this. So, you know, ask yourself what works for you, what doesn't. That's a very important thing. Also, how can you make your study time more efficient and effective? Because, yeah, you can sit there and you can read the entire book over again. That's not an effective time management skill there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say.
What's that?
Oh, I would say just like focus on like, if you do an assignment, focus on that because you learned about it. And then if there was like any questions or activities you guys did in the class, focus on that also.
Okay. So,
yeah.
What do you think is stopping you from going to your office hours with your teacher?
Yeah, I just don't want to.
You don't like to ask for help. That's probably the hardest thing for everybody is to ask for help, you know. And those are reflection questions of the day. So ask yourself this, Connor. Today, as we talked about study habits, is there anything that stuck out in your mind that you're like, you know what, I really need to try that, you know, and see if it'll work for me or not?
The practice quizzes.
The practice quizzes?
I did that for chemistry one time and it helped.
One time.
Well, I mean,
if it helped, you just never did it again. Okay.
But that was the last quiz, that's why.
Okay.
So it's like I just need to do that to every class and figure out how I'm gonna do it. I just gotta get used to it.
And as you go out there, you know, there's a lot of things. So let's take a break and let's come back and we'll talk about the digital inferno. What do you think?
That sounds great.
All right. Here's a digital break. I'm sorry.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Wonder what was going on inside the man in black's mind. Was he missing June? Was he thinking back when that picture was snapped? Was he wishing he could hold her? Did he know his life was over? The day that camera flashed the last picture of Johnny Cash. Lines of life there on his face show hard living and show grace. A story told in shades of black. Was he whispering a prayer through that cold and lonesome glare? The day the camera flashed the last picture of Johnny Cash.
Could he hear that angel band? June
Johnny Cash. Wonder what was going on inside the man in black's mind. Day old Marty Flash, last picture of Johnny Cash.
Before we get back to the show, remember that Hot Takes with the Murph Man is partnered with Stream915.com, the place for premium content you won't find in the live podcast or on socials. Visit purehottakes.com to connect on socials and unlock your discount link to Stream915.com.
All right. Next, we're going to talk about technology. One of my favorite segments to talk about.
Of course it is.
You know,
scratch my chin.
AI and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Something you did this morning. You have your little razor.
Oh, yeah.
And I always check it for you to see if it needs to be charged or not, right? And it was dead. So I tell Connor, like, hey, how come you let your charger die? He goes, oh, it's had a long battery. I never had to charge it. I'm like, yeah, Connor, I charge it like once a month for you.
Thank you for that. But I was like, this
is an amazing razor.
I'm like, damn, I finally ran out of battery after like having it for like 3 months, maybe more. I'm like, I might want to give me this.
That's what's so funny. You know, like you just assume. Like one time I said I bought a new house. It was the end of the semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a house November 28th. I got married to him on December 18th, right? So in January, I talked about, hey, I just bought a new house, blah, 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 or whatever, right? I said, it's an amazing house. You know, I leave dirty dishes in the sink. I go to sleep. I wake up, and the dishes are clean. I leave my shoes in the living room. I go to sleep. I come back. My shoes are in my bedroom. It's like, it's an amazing house. I love it. And a student actually took me seriously and says, that's your wife. Your wife is doing that for you. I know it's a joke. You know, some people can't take a joke.
Well, I mean, some people are dumb also.
Yeah, she was pretty stupid.
No, she's talking about you, but okay. I'm talking about you.
No, there's a thing about being dumb and being stupid. I'm stupid. I'm not dumb.
Well, she thought you were dumb because she actually thought you were being serious.
Yeah. Oh, God. So, you know how they say there's no such thing as a stupid question?
Yeah, there's always that one.
There's stupid questions. And my favorite stupid question is, can I use the book in a take-home test? I swear to God, that's a true student question to me. Just amazing. And then we're talking about highlighting.
Well, I mean, can you take the book home?
The test is online. It's at home.
Uh-huh.
Like you can use the book.
Well, I mean, that's why if she's asking if you could take it.
No, it's a take-home test. The whole point is to use the book.
Oh, well,
that's the whole point of taking an online test. Anyway,
what's it online at home, not online take your book?
No, it's online at home.
I know, but not take the book because you don't know if you can take the book or not. It's not hers.
Connor, do you have books for your classes right now?
No.
You don't have any books. You just spent $127 on the book.
Oh, well, online, yeah.
Okay.
But not a physical book.
No, but you have a book.
Oh, yeah.
And you use it when you do
not even a
assignments,
book.
right?
That's the whole thing.
But you use it when you do assignments, right?
Yeah, but I don't take a book from the school home if I didn't pay for it.
Well, everyone buys books for their classes. Anyway.
So she bought a book. She bought that book?
Yes.
Oh, well, then that's different. I thought it was just like can't she just take it from the class?
No. Well, another thing you can do is you can actually go to the library and check out the books for your courses for the semester. Did you know you could do that?
No.
Yep. That's something you can do.
Well, how much?
It's the library, so it's free.
Okay. I never went to the library for that.
I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You never use a resource that's available to you.
No, I just never go because I don't need it.
The thing about I was going to tell you was, stupid questions from students. I had a student turn in work. We were talking about highlighting notes.
Which is the whole thing.
He borrowed his friend's notes, copied them by a Xerox copy, and turned them into me.
What was that?
A Xerox, copied, like a copy.
Oh.
Xerox is a brand of copier, but we used to call it Xeroxing.
Oh.
So he copied it
Mm-hmm.
and then turned that part into me. So I'm grading papers and I see a paper that's highlighted. And I see a paper that's highlighted, but it's copied. You know how it changes color when you copy a highlighter? And I realized this kid literally took his notes and just straight up copied them and turned them into me. They're stupid students, I tell you. It's crazy.
Well, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about technology real quick. One is Anki and Quizlet flashcards. Very helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can buy courses that have the answers for a lot of tests already. You gotta be real careful with that kind of stuff because you don't ever know if the answers are correct. But you could use it for studies and totally legit. Okay, don't use it to turn in work. Use the Pomodoro timers, so that you can keep focus on what work you're working on. You also want to do that spaced repetition where you practice it over time, not just over one night. Right?
Yeah.
We talked about AI, using that to work on stuff, right? To study, ask it questions. And last night I was telling Connor, one of the things I do is I have a conversation with AI. And he hates this, but whatever. I'll talk to the AI and I'll say, hey, I want to do this. What do you think of this? Tell me what's another idea. And I formulated a whole plan, Next week, when we start opening the studios, I want to have a new podcast and a new radio show. And this one, it's going to be, it's going to be pretty busy. But I'd like to support stream915.com. And I came up with a whole show. And I'm talking to Connor. I got this segment. I got that segment. I'm doing this. I want to do that, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's actually pretty cool. Do you remember? Now I'm going to see if you can recall what we talked about. What's the name of the segment that you liked so much? The thing about our consulting firm.
Consulting firm?
Yes.
What's that?
The whole thing we worked on a couple of weeks ago where we came up with the Harry Potter shield. Remember? The 4 things and all that. What's the name of that?
What does it start with?
B.
Ooh. Not what I was thinking of.
Borderland strategies.
Oh, the title? I think you meant like that shield and the segments, not the title.
Well, no, the segments were just pictures. But
that's what we're talking about, segments though, not the title.
What's the name of the segment on the radio station?
I don't know.
I tried retrieving your cue by using the consulting firm. You couldn't remember what the hell we called our consulting firm. Borderland is a trigger.
Oh. Borderland Mix? No. God, what was it?
See?
Borderland, no. I don't know.
Borderland Beats.
Beats. God. Dang.
I even tried cueing you. And again, we go back to the way you store information is very different than the way my brain stores information.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys, use AI and use it properly. You don't want to go too crazy with it.
Just like you. You knew I was going to go there.
Yeah. But and I've told you before, the knowledge that I share on my scripts and everything is my knowledge. It's just AI helps me write it.
Yeah. And talks to you about new ideas.
Well,
yes. Don't even.
No. For the podcast here, not really.
Well, any of it.
For all the other stuff I'm doing, yeah. It gives me new ideas. We go back to my DJ name, remember? Do you remember what my DJ name is? What I want to call myself?
Not DJ Mix.
No.
That's Spotify. What did you? I don't think you
I'm
ever
gonna be
made
doing
an.
80s music, 80s and 90s. DJ 80.
Oh, that's right, DJ 80.
See, now that works if you actually see it, but on the radio, if I say, "Hey, I'm DJ 80," that's not gonna make anyone any sense. So I'm just gonna stick with Murph Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the things that I'm going to be trying to do is just going to be for fun. It really is. Support the new studio, get some exposure there, and just practice.
A lot of practicing.
Javi's talking about doing live streaming for gaming.
Ooh.
Right. And I'm like, that would be cool. Right. And then, like, he was talking about this Grammy nominated, maybe a Grammy award winning. I don't know if he's nominated or award winning.
I mean, nominated is actually good also.
Well, yeah. But it'd be funny, like, he was like, I'm going to ask him about the white parties with Diddy.
Okay. Please don't.
Why not?
Please don't ask that out of all things. Out of all things.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm assuming he does hip hop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you could not meet him, but when you talk to him, what artists would you want to learn more about? And you know what I mean? Be ready for that.
Well, I don't even know who it is.
I know. I'm going to find out for you. I'll get the details for you.
Okay.
But wouldn't it be cool? What?
No, just thinking.
Okay. Wouldn't it be cool? Like, and that's the thing. You network with people, right? I met Javi, and Javi. This guy. There's other people I'm meeting with, other things.
Yeah. You said from Cali?
Yes.
Huh.
Remember, Javi used to hang around with like producers and stuff.
He still does.
Well, yeah. Like yesterday, went to a bar and he knew the DJ. Well, actually, he didn't know the DJ specifically. He asked him, "Do you work for this guy?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, I know that guy." And it's like, he knows people.
Yeah, I know your boss. Yeah.
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 Hey,
Oh God, what happened?
This is some knowledge I'm going to drop on you.
Okay.
You know what a Karen is, right?
Uh-huh.
Did you know the name Karen is not being used anymore?
What are we calling them now?
Jessica's.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No, I just say the B word. That's it.
Beautiful?
Not the other one.
Bootylicious?
Oh, I was going to say brilliant.
Brilliant? Yeah.
But no. I know what it stands for.
It was funny because when I do counseling, kids will say, B word. Like, okay, just because you say B word, you're still saying the word because you know what you mean when you say that.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. Mister, he said the F word. What, failure? Feedback? Right? Our episode last week.
Yeah.
Right? But anyway, yeah, so it's going to be Jessica. That's the new term.
I'm not calling it Jessica.
Oh, you're going to start hearing that. Let's see if that comes true or not. That's something I've noticed.
We'll find out.
The other thing is with AI, we're talking about, studying and everything. You really can use it. It's an amazing tool. Think about it, go over there and see what you can use it for. Ask it. I want to study this class. What do you recommend? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to use AI. Technology, it's part of our lives now. We carry technology with us in our phones. Right?
Yeah.
There's more computing power in our phone than what took the astronauts up to the moon. It's crazy the stuff we can do with the phone nowadays. And
really crazy.
It is. And use it wisely. Don't become dependent on it. But you can use it to think a lot differently. Like we have my niece who hates us using AI.
Us.
Well, us, those of us who use it.
Oh.
And I told her, I said, it just helps me write my stuff out, and it's just much more efficient. And she's like, yeah, but you're killing trees and doing all this. And I said, yeah, I am. I'm not gonna lie. That's just a part of life right now.
Yeah.
But she says, does it make you dumber because you're not doing your own work? And I'm like, I disagree. I am doing my own work. It's just helping me write it.
Mm.
So people won't agree with it, but I will tell you right now, if you're a college student, you need to learn how to use AI to help you study.
It works. Yeah, you would need to. Personal experience. Yeah, I need to learn more. I guess.
And it's not that you need to learn how to use AI and become an AI specialist or anything. Like I was telling Javi yesterday, he uses Gemini and he stopped using ChatGPT, and I told him what a gem is and everything. And then it's funny because technology, I said, in Gemini, you can write a gem, which is like a pre-printed script. So you can say, every time I give you this information, review these 5 documents and give me this. So it doesn't give me anything extra, because AI will give you those hallucinations and they just give you some BS stuff.
Yeah.
But when you use a gem, it's specific to the document you put into it. So if you're not happy with what you get, like for example, I could put in a course syllabus, right? I could put in the skills needed for that course. I could put in a PDF copy of the book. I could put in 5 or 6 different test banks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say, I am working on chapter 1. Give me a question. Give me a test that has 15 multiple choice, 1 essay, 3 fill in the blank, and it'll give it to me. Now, the way it used to be is you download the program to your phone or to your computer, you click, and I say, I want these questions, and it does it for you, right? You could also just say, I just want 10 multiple choice questions that are, 3 easy, 3 hard, and 4 medium, and it would give it to you. So it's not doing anything different than what I was using the test banks for, right? But the thing with AI, you're not guaranteed it's going to be right information, so you have to go back and review it. But using those gems, it can do it. So I said, I need to make a gem for this. And then the computer came back and said, you want to use a Ruby gem? Okay. So I started looking at Ruby gem, and it's actually a program that you have to get an API. You have to download it. You have to go in there, program your code. It's like a whole coding thing that I don't want to do.
Oh, God.
Or I could just go to Gemini and say, do this.
And you're just like, okay.
And yeah, technology, it is what it is. But I will tell you what.
What's up?
I think we need to take a quick break, and we can come back and do the final burn. What do you think, Connor?
Sounds good.
Here's a song by David Alexander, Mr. Red, White, and Blue.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey, from the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on
Before we wrap up, here's a reminder. Hot Takes with the Murph Man streams live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern with Military Broadcast Radio. At mbradio.us, we give veterans a voice and help them launch their own podcasts. Hot Takes with the Murph Man is partnered with Squad 915 Studios, the place for premium content you won't find in the live podcast or on socials. At stream915.com, we are a local platform made for El Paso with content exclusively created by El Pasoans. Check it out. It is free to create an account. Visit purehottakes.com to connect on socials and unlock your discount link to stream915.com.
All right, I gotta go back and look at that. I think it was repeating itself a few times.
I know. I saw the stream now like 3 times. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
sorry
okay.
about that. All right, so we're back for a final quote unquote segment, which is the final burn. This is our final thought of the day before we end the show.
The secret to getting an A. The final take from today's discussion is, don't just study harder, study smarter. The right strategy can turn a C into an A and a panic into a plan. The final flame has been struck. Back to Murph Man to wrap the show.
Is don't just study harder, study smarter. Utilize your time correctly. Turn a C into an A and a panic into a plan. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that's our end of the show for this week. Connor, I think we did a pretty good show. Thank you very much for everything.
We did. This was one of the better shows we've had
In a while.
Yeah, in a while.
We look forward to seeing you guys every week here, Saturdays, 12 p.m. Eastern. With that being said, have a wonderful week, and we shall see you next week.
Yes, sir. Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you're looking for more, you can find all the best clips from the show on our social media pages. For all the links and more information about what we talked about today, visit purehottakes.com. And if you want to watch the full replay or get access to our premium content, subscribe now at stream915.com. We appreciate you tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.